inside the Now Morning Show. Today is career day, and I don't know if you got a glimpse just now, but my guest on set is Echo. Believe it or not. Yeah, you look wrong, huh? And I also have on set with me, in a minor capacity, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aaron Thomas. He's the breeder and trainer at one of the breeders and trainers.
I am the breeder.
The breeder and trainer at Vangaart Rottweilers. Good morning to you, Aaron.
Good morning, Lucas. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for coming and for bringing Echo on to the show this morning. And I mean, we're talking careers today, right? So I want to start off with that aspect of things. In terms of you being a breeder and a trainer, what does that involve? How did you get into it? How lucrative is it?
Okay, that's a very good question because you'll get a lot of different responses. First part of it, how did I get into training? I had a passion for dogs ever since I was small, growing up, and so you would watch certain TV shows and see like dogs performing tricks and acting and everything, and I was always interested to find out how they would do those things. So when I first started, I started off with Rottweilers in 2003, and since then I've had a lot of dogs, and I took I guess what they call a path towards training, where I started off, as everybody else, hiring a trainer who would come home by me and train my dogs. I learned a lot from that trainer. That guy, his name is Vangaart. He's a very well-known trainer in the country. And then from that, because of my yard space, I needed to do training outside of the premises.
Right.
So there's a field up in Maracas Valley. All right, that's a private field that's owned by Roger Barkley, and it's also the home for the Universal Schützen Club of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
So in going up there, I was introduced to Roger and the guys, and they invited me to join the club because they saw my passion with my dogs.
Right.
And that's when I really started to understand the philosophy of dog training. All right. So to be a trainer, you need to understand dog behavior, canine behavior. And
that's something that I personally have lots of questions about, because I don't know how. I mean, I've never met an animal psychologist that we can sit down and study the behavior of dogs and what makes them tick. But I assume as somebody who's training dogs, you have to figure that out along the way. So in terms of like, let's start with Rottweilers, or maybe just dogs in general. How do you determine what is a dangerous dog from what is not?
What people don't realize is that any dog could become a dangerous dog. They're not, dangerous dogs are not breed specific.
Okay.
And that's where the conversation needs to head in the country.
So you're saying that a Caribbean Shepherd, aka a Potong,
can be a dangerous dog.
Could also be as dangerous as a pit bull.
Correct.
Interesting. Right. Tell me more. Go ahead.
All right. Even a Chihuahua could be dangerous.
Right.
The thing is, the damage that a Chihuahua could do versus a pit bull or a Rottweiler is different.
Yeah. But what makes the dog dangerous?
What essentially makes the dog dangerous is that the dog could bite and
so by that definition, all dog dangerous. Once they can eat food, they're dangerous.
They have teeth, yeah.
All right. So then, so how are you training this dangerous animal that have teeth? We have teeth too, and some of we just bite.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that you have to respect nature and you have to respect dogs. Okay. So since you know that, you need to know what makes a dog tick.
Right.
Okay. And there are certain essential stuff with a canine especially that makes them tick. All right. They have different drives like prey drive, hunt drive, defensive drives, and there's a whole sort of
prey, hunt, defense.
Yeah, that's just three.
Yeah.
I named off the bat, right? But there are other drives that a dog would have. But it all started with the wolf.
Right.
Okay. Because they came from the wolf. And these natural instincts develop with the dog or the wolf or canines in general because of a need to survive. All right?
Right.
So it's a survival instinct in the dog. So
Okay.
as a trainer, that's the first thing you need to understand. And then from there, you need to understand that these drives are not the same with every dog.
Right.
One dog may have a higher prey drive and a lower defensive drive. One dog may have a higher defensive drive and a lower prey drive, right?
So, I mean, we can, I mean, obviously every dog is unique, just like every human is unique, right? And you have to figure out each dog along the way. But, I mean, over the course of time, we've seen several situations where dogs would attack, whether it be their owners, whether it would be somebody else in the house, sometimes a young child. What do you think would cause something like that to happen? Is it one of these drives going out of order, out of whack, or?
Not necessarily out of whack. And each incident of a dog bite case, you need to look specifically at what may have triggered or caused it. Okay, a drive would have been part of the action from the dog.
Right.
Something triggered the dog into doing that. Okay, for example, I'll go back to the first case that we had in January. All right, it seemed that dog had a case of food possession, where he was very possessive of his food, possessive. Right. He's a possessive type of dog, right? And if he's a possessive type of dog, even though you're the owner, if from young you haven't
broken that out of him,
or had somebody with experience to teach you how to manipulate that drive, all right, so that he wouldn't become that way, all right, that saves a lot of things. So it all comes down to responsible ownership at the end of the day, and people understanding the dogs that they have, the breeds that they have, and what they can or cannot do.
So in order to prevent these attacks that appear random to us, basically we just need to have properly trained dogs.
Correct.
So if you want to have dogs, especially of a particular size and type and make, then you should have them trained professionally and properly.
Correct. And for me, right, anybody coming to me for a puppy, that's one of the things I tell them. I said, for me to be able to sell you this puppy, you have to do training.
Right.
Yeah. That's part of the
And you can only be trained properly from puppy.
From a puppy, yes, correct.
All right. I have one more question before we start to show off what Echo could do, right? In terms of after an attack, we always hear, that they kill the dog or something to that effect. Is it possible after a dog attacks a human to fix that drive or that problem that would have gone wrong?
Another very good question. After a dog attacks, a dog needs to be assessed. Just like, let's look at humans.
Right.
All right?
So you're saying dogs and humans are very similar?
In certain aspects.
That's why they say man is dog.
And that's why dogs are man's best friend.
Right.
Right? Because the relationship is so close.
Okay.
All right? Not that we're the same because we're different species, but a lot of the behaviors in dogs and man are very similar. Dog is
and we're both trainable.
Yes, and we're both social creatures. Right. We both like trainees. We like to lime and party. Dogs are generally very social, pack animals. They like to be in a pack.
Right. So you assess them.
Right. So back to that. So what will have to happen is that after a dog, depending on the incident, dog mauls, kills, or whatever, that dog needs to be assessed by a person who has the knowledge of dog behavior, all right, or canine behavior, or canine training, to see if that dog may have a chance of doing it again. All right?
So how do you stop the attack mid-attack then? How do you get the dog off of this person if they're mauling somebody? The man laugh, yes? How
because all these questions are very, very interesting questions.
Because these are what people want to know. Like, if a dog comes in to attack me, and let me say a dog hold on to my foot, in my head, the only way to get that dog off is to kill it. I am not a dog person.
Not necessarily.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. In my head, so I want you to help me. How else do we do that?
All right. Okay, so I would advise people, all right, if in the case of a dog attack, the first thing that you could try to do is to try to hit the dog between the front legs.
Okay, on the chest.
Right? Oxygen, if you could cut off the oxygen supply from the dog will release. That's just natural. All right? So that's one way you can look at it.
All right.
So you don't necessarily have to shoot or kill the dog to get the dog off.
And if you can't access their chest? If they're on top of you and you can't access their chest?
Well, then you have to do what you need to do.
You have to do what you need to do. All right. Let me just scare Echo. Echo, we're not doing you nothing, yeah? All right. Echo is going to, let me see what, you were saying that you can train the dogs. I know Echo is a special dog because he's been on TV. He's basically a superstar we have on set here, guys. But how do we, show me some of the things that you've trained Echo to do. Like, how do you get him in that control, and what do you do?
All right. So we go back to drives, right?
Right.
So I've used Echo's drive for food. So it's one of the most basic things and easiest thing to train a dog. So we'll start with food.
Right.
Here. All right, let me come so you can see the camera better. All right. Now Echo is much more advanced than a lot of other dogs, right?
He's also much bigger than all other dogs.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation.
So,
are you playing guess which hand?
no.
Oh.
He has to, he knows that what he has to do is look at me in order to get the food.
Ah.
So it's a focus exercise that I'm doing.
Okay.
So he's staring at me, waiting for me to give the okay.
Nice.
For him to get the food. Sit. Okay.
Okay. Say,
Okay.
Let me do say that, no? Next thing he comes to try.
No. Right? So food is one way.
Right.
All right? Food is in a lower drive. The dog is, and you're going to see it with
That's
them.
basic.
Yeah. And it's because sits. All right. Plats. Good. So with food, you could control the dog a lot better. All right. Then, if you want speed and accuracy, you use the dog's prey drive.
Okay.
Okay. And it also depends on how high the dog is in that drive. So with Echo, I have a ball here that he loves. Right? Notice, you can observe and see how alert he gets.
Yeah, from the time you dip in that pocket, he just raise up one time. He know what that pocket have in it.
Yeah, so this is how crisp he gets with it. Here. Foos. Good. Foos. 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 Good. Plats. Sits. Plats.
Yeah.
Sits. Plats. Sits.
Oh, they realize that
Plats.
Echo is bilingual, right?
Sits.
I didn't know what
Plats.
language this is anymore. It's
Okay.
German. If Echo take a trip to Germany, you get all kind of instructions. He wouldn't know what to do with himself.
All right. And just for everybody to see, all right. Now he's going to be basically doing this exercise in what we call prey and fun. House.
You said prey and fun.
Yeah.
Those two things are very different, sir.
Not necessarily. Not for the dog. Plats.
And this is, I think that's part of the problem, is that we can't tell the difference between when a dog is having fun and when a dog is about to eat you. Like, we really can't tell the difference. How do we tell the difference? How do we separate that fun and prey? You're saying that you're using them together.
Yes, but for me to go into that, how long?
We don't have enough time.
We don't have enough time.
I'm sure we don't have enough time.
Because I'll have to do a lot of explanation. I'll have to go back into the dog psychology to be able to explain.
Right.
Right. But just common sense will tell you. You could tell. You could watch a dog and tell when he's having fun.
You could watch a dog and tell when he's having fun compared to. Let me see one more trick from Echo.
Right. So. Hold on.
Hey, sir, he just, yeah, that was your mic. Echo, have some decorum, please. Try your best, Echo. And you go take it down again. It's coming down again. Yeah, it's coming down again. All right. So, Echo, what we gonna do? I want you to do the one from a, come back and by the TTT sign. Yeah. So when we were offset before we started, that's fine. You can just leave it off at this point. When we were offset before, you did something where you had him go to somebody else who was not you.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted to show people how you were able to do that. But I anchor. We'll use I anchor.
Okay.
Because, you know.
Flats. Flats. All right. So now I give Ianka the reward. So Echo.
And hold on. So she has the ball now.
All right.
And he's still staying there. It doesn't matter if you have it or not.
Right. Because he's trained.
He's trained to do that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, Ianka. You can walk to do the recall.
Hey, wait.
9. Echo. Echo.
Echo's not listening.
Echo. 9.
All right. You have the ball. You're in charge.
Yeah.
So what am I telling Echo to do now?
Put him in a down.
Which is?
Plats.
Plats.
What is this?
Plats.
Plats.
Yeah. That's not a dot. Plats. Okay. Foos.
Foos.
Take your left for the ball in your left hand. All right. Say foos.
Foos.
All right.
And?
So it's just who had the ball in control?
Tell them
But this
plats.
dog is a sellout. I thought this was your dog.
Plats.
Go ahead.
Okay, now this is the one I anchor. This is the one. This is the one to the break I anchor. You ready for it?
No, face him, huh?
Face him.
Yeah.
And what do you say?
I don't know. It's German.
No, it's the one, the
Yeah.
echo. Echo.
Echo. Hey.
That is performance.
Good boy.
That is
And he go on. He
performance.
didn't
And
care
he go
about
on.
me. My
Ladies
boy.
and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us this morning and sharing some of this info. Hopefully, we can have a more in-depth conversation about, what makes dogs sick and how we can prevent future incidents of, unfortunate circumstances like what happened earlier this week. But I thank you so much for joining us and sharing this morning. Breeder and trainer at the Vangaart Rottweilers, Aaron Thomas, and of course, Echo, who's now Anchor's best friend. I hope your dog's seeing this at home too, right?
Yeah, my dogs are going to be mad at
Lovely.
me.
They're going to be extremely jealous. Let's take a quick break and come back with more inside
Echo's
the Now
bigger
Morning
than me,
Show. Stay
though.
tuned. What a morning it is this morning. We had an Echo on set just now.
Yes.
And,
I know I smell like dog.
Yeah, but you like them thing. I is not a dog person. I is not an animal person.
Well, then this is not the show for you
It's gonna be a hell of a show this morning, isn't it?
But it is all about the careers that people may
Yeah.
not necessarily think about initially when you're looking at getting into the work world. A lot of us look for those office jobs, those 9 to 5.
Because that's also what we taught in school, is you're taught
Precisely.
to kind of go down a particular direction, and until you learn to explore and research some more for yourself, and you find out how many varieties of jobs you can have in just
Right.
one field.
Correct.
That's when you kind of learn a little bit more about what has to happen and what you can do and what is possible. Natalie, are you there with us?
Yes, but who gets up and be like, yay, I want to be a dog trainer? Or, yay, I want to be, I don't know.
I
find
imagine that like
difficult.
somebody, if you think about it, like somebody who loves dogs and they just love playing with dogs and they have dogs home, at some point they'll be like, wait a minute, I can make money from doing this? What? And it becomes a career.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. Like for me, it can never be about the money because you're going to fail. It
Right.
has
No, but you
to be
still have
about
bills
the
to pay, though.
passion for the thing.
I think for us, when I say us, dog people. But I agree with you, Natalie. Any sort of job that you get into that gives you that fulfilling feeling, it really doesn't have the money at the bottom line.
Yeah, but let's be practical about this, guys.
Agreed.
If it's not giving you any sort of income, you're going to have to find something that
A
does,
different
because
outcome.
it costs money to be alive on this here earth.
Right. So what you do is your drive is usually, or your inspiration is
Yeah.
usually more from the passion, and then the money is just an extra derivative.
You can't do anything for just money. Can't be your first go-to
No,
for
no,
anything in
correct.
this life. It's not sustainable.
Definitely not.
It's a necessary evil.
Big facts.
You
But
know?
the good thing is that we dispelled some of the evil that was around dogs after the last situation, because we learned a couple things.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
And we
forward
still have
to
a lot
learning
more to learn. I hope that we can have a chat. I want to have a proper sit down and talk to
a
Aaron.
longer interview.
And and find out some of the things that we can get into about dogs, because a lot of people still have misinformation and just fear running through the place, you know what I mean?
Sure. Big
But
But the thing is that only one thing I thought when I was listening to Aaron is that he's saying once the dog can bite, then that means the dog is dangerous. But the thing is that we do have a dangerous dogs act, and
yeah.
there are categories of dog as compared, in terms of what dogs are dangerous. I don't think it's just that you can bite, but I fully accept what he said that, it's not how much damage can a chihuahua do
Right.
as compared to a pit bull
Of
or a
course.
Rottweiler.
Exactly.
And then
I mean,
illegalities and
even
things
though they
versus
all
the
have
actualities.
the teeth have different strengths and they have different capacity. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like saying you have a alligator bite you, the amount of force coming down in that bite,
It's very different to
is
a
not going to
chihuahua.
be the same as a lizard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most definitely. All right, well, we're going to continue to explore some careers this morning, and we're going to do so after we take a quick break and come back. This one, I'm going to stay so far away from what they wouldn't even believe. I think, God, this is all you, my dear. Let's take a break and come back with more.